Hey everyone, welcome to the stream. Just getting set up. All right. Okay. Merge branch, add Nox submodules. Okay, we did this last time. Okay. All right, so yeah, how's it going, everyone? As for me, things are going pretty well. A couple of cool little bits of information and stuff I wanted to share. Okay. Actually, before I go into here, let me bring this down. So yeah, one really cool thing is, those of you who were watching last stream, did I have it open here? Yeah, probably recall that we opened a couple of pull requests. So one of those pull requests was, is it over here? Yeah, so it was this one here, fix build of SDL2 net for Linux. Yeah, so it was this one here, fix build of SDL2 net for Linux. And so I opened this actually last stream. So what had happened is, I think it was like last week or something, I had actually opened an issue. And I had described here that this SDL2 net library was not building on VC package, which is the tool from Microsoft. I had described what the issue was. Then over the weekend, I had actually figured out what was wrong with it, and over the last stream, we went ahead and actually fixed it right here. And then I opened up this pull request for it. Now the cool thing is, the very next day, which was yesterday, this fix was actually merged. I think if we just refresh this, we'll see it here. Yeah, there you go. So you see it was actually merged directly into their master. Whoops. And I got this, thanks from Alex Karatarakis. So that was really cool, right? I was like, great. So that means that technically, Vectrexy should now build on Linux with no special hacks or anything. So I was really happy about that. But what was even cooler was that on the issue that I opened, where I had asked a few questions, we did this on stream last time. I had said here, I have a fix for this issue on this PR. The problem is that, and I described that the problem was that basically these warning flags here in the CMake lists only makes sense for Windows, for MSVC, so I just wrapped it up in a simple if, and then that pretty much fixed it. But I had asked a couple of questions where I talked about here, where I got some linker errors, specifically because I needed to link against SNDIO, Sound.io, and DL. And I was just asking, is this expected, or should the VC package CMake file specify public dependencies like this? And the cool bit is that I got this response from Robert Schumacher, Raz0219-MSFT. So he's a dev at Microsoft. I suppose one of the things he works on is VC package. So this is the user. You can see he's quite an active user. And he wrote back, and I thought it was really cool. He said, "Thanks for the PR. Watching your archived stream 76 at the moment." So he actually went and watched my stream from the last stream a couple nights ago, and he said some answers to questions you had during your stream. So just that alone, the fact that he went and watched my stream and decided to answer them here, these questions that I brought up during the stream, I just thought was insanely cool. Nowhere did I even mention the fact that I was streaming when I reported this. There's no mention anywhere here of Vectrexy. So this guy would have had to go and check out my profile, and he went and saw, I guess, that I was streamer. He must have figured out that you know, he saw probably that in the subject of my last stream, it said that I was working on Linux stuff, and he decided to watch it and, you know, kind of put two and two together. So I thought that was really neat. And anyway, so here are some of the things he said that I thought was really interesting. So he said, yes, VC package should add the public dependencies to the SDL2 targets, so you don't have to explicitly link them. And he says, we don't do this currently, but it is something we should strive to do in the future. So that's kind of cool. It does explain why I have to explicitly link against these dependencies. He says here, when using static libraries, as you discovered, you do need to specify all the transitive dependencies on the link line. And what he means by transitive is, I depend on SDL2, right? So that's a direct dependency, but SDL2 itself depends on other libraries, and those are called transitive dependencies. Normally, when you work with CMake, you basically can specify these transitive dependencies using this target link libraries line, and you're supposed to, you know, if you use target link libraries against it, you're supposed to get its transitive dependencies, which is not what happens right now. As he explains here, he says you are depending on these either way, shared or static, but when using shared libs, that's hidden from you until runtime. Right, so when it loads the runtime library, then it loads other runtime libraries. So that's actually one of the pros for using runtime libraries like DLLs rather than static libraries. The cons, of course, is that you actually need to have all those runtime libraries available to you, so you have to install them. If you statically link, you don't really need to install anything. You should just have everything there with the executable. So, you know, there's this trade-off there, right? Sound IO is a lower level library used by SDL2 to access sound on Linux. We probably should build this statically in VC package. So I actually responded and asked a question about that, about whether or not he means that there should be a VC package for Sound IO, because I looked it up and it looks like this is actually publicly available. There's a GitHub repo for it. So I wonder if they mean they could host, you know, this Sound IO as a package. I'm not sure, because it is only Linux, and you know, VC package is really more cross-platform kind of packages, or at least mainly Microsoft with ports. So I'm not sure. So we'll see what he says. He mentions here libdl is a very, very low-level library on Linux, supplying dlclose, dlsim, etc. As I found out, yeah. This one will pretty much always come from your system, like the CRT. We should definitely be injecting the -ldl automatically, though. So that would be nice. Right now I have to specify it myself. It's not a big deal, but it definitely, if they did it for me, that'd be one less thing to do. The change you made to SDL2net was great. In the future, we should probably also guard the target link libraries, WS232. However, the statement is actually ignored when building static libraries, since no link actually happens. And then he makes a footnote here. If you export CMake targets, then the target link libraries will be added to those targets and pulled into the consuming project. Even for static libs, we don't do that currently, so it has no effect. So that's what I was mentioning earlier. I do know about it, and it is really cool, but they don't use it. So, and I had mentioned that we should probably be wrapping even these lines in the if MSVC, but it didn't really make a big difference. And for me, the key here was minimal change to get the change pulled. So if we continue, he says, it should actually be pretty rare that ports have their own CMake lists text file. So when he's talking about ports, he's talking about that ports folder. I think if we open this here, we'll take a look at this. We should be able to see it. In code, VC package, there's this ports folder, right? And in here are basically, it's kind of like for every single library, you'll find a ports folder. So SDL2net is in here. And you can see in here, he's saying that ports, let's go down a bit here. It's pretty rare that ports have their own CMake lists. This one has, right? But like we saw that SDL itself, just SDL2 does not have that, right? It has a port file.cmake, which isn't the same. And he says this only happens when we need to replace the host build system, which happens when it is more difficult to maintain compatibility with their existing build system than to maintain our own copy. So ports like SDL2 are using upstream's CMake list. So here they basically, I remember reading it, and their port file here, they actually download what they need from the upstream CMake to then build it, rather than host their own CMake lists and manage their own. But that's not the case for SDL2-net. Sorry for the long delay with the response. For this issue, while working on Linux and OS X support, a pretty large backlog built up, and we prioritize PRs over issues, so we're currently playing catch up. I thought that was kind of nice. Honestly, I did not find it long at all. He responded within about a week, so that's definitely better than some responses I've gotten in other places. I definitely have nothing bad to say about that. So anyway, thank you very much, Robert Schumacher, in case you watched this stream. And I think this is really cool. So, just give me a second. Okay. So now that this is the case, it does mean that we should be able to see that my fix is in there. So why don't we do that? What branch are we on? Are we on my branch here? Yeah, we're on fix SDL2-net. So if I check out master here, right? From master, if we try to do the build again, which was VC package. I don't know what's gonna happen now because I'd already built it. I might have to do like a remove and add again. So let's try that. VC package, remove SDL2-net. Okay, so it's removed. And VC package, install SDL2-net. And then we get the CMake error that we were getting. Okay. Now, if we pull from master, this should pull in my change. We're probably going to see... Let's see. Well, master removed the head, so that's good. And there's no track information for your current branch. Oh, really? I guess the set upstream didn't work. Already up to date. Are we actually on... Are we behind? Let me see here. Or actually I want to do more like... Okay, origin master. I'm just curious to see. No, okay, so I guess we're not really pulling here. Let me just correct this. So I think it's git set upstream or something. Master origin master. Master origin master. I never remember how to do this. Here, let's look it up. Git set upstream. Here, let's look it up. Git set upstream. So let's get branch set upstream. Okay, that's what it was. Git checkout -b, git config, okay, and then git push u. So git branch set upstream -2 origin my branch. Okay, let's do that. Set stream 2, oh, equals, eh? Origin master, git pull. Really? So we are on latest? I don't quite understand. Wait. Okay, yes. It's my bad. It's not origin. Okay, I did this wrong. Okay. Not origin. Okay, I did this wrong. Hey, I'm not muted here. Got some feedback there. Okay, no, so this was supposed to be master tracking upstream master. Oh, why does it say that? Git fetch upstream. Okay. There we go. Git pull. Oh, there we go. That makes more sense. And there's the SDL2 net CMake list change that I made. Finally. So now, I think there's a script that I need to run. Oh yeah, the bootstrap script. Make sure that our compiler is, our package is up to date. One thing I noticed is that this is pretty slow, and I think it's because it's doing single processor compilation. I made a small change like between last stream and this stream where I've changed my build script in VS Code, my build task to pass -J to make, so that it uses all my processors, and actually it makes a huge difference. And I don't know if there's a way to pass -J to the make that's being called for VC package. Maybe I need to do like a. We could try it actually. Let's see here. Sometimes you can do this. That seems to have made no difference. Or maybe just -J. Maybe it'll just pass whatever args to make. Or maybe it's just completely ignored in the case of this. That would be a nice thing to fix actually. What does Bootstrap do? Oh, it's using Ninja. Maybe that's why. Yeah, it totally doesn't care about that. But it calls scripts bootstrap.shell. vi bootstrap.sh. Fetch tool, do the build. Release -G ninja. And then it calls -- build. So I don't know. There's probably a way to tell Ninja to do what it's supposed to do, but it's okay. Let's just let this happen here. You know what, let's let it build, and we'll just take a quick look to see if there is a, what's the argument to Ninja to make it do. Ninja multi-processor build.
He got jaded fast. First showcase might have been the last. Forecast icy. Fire's not pretty if it leads to meltdown in the chocolate city. But it's all in your mind. Chop that beat, make 'em hit rewind. Fry those rhymes, saute that spinach. It's all in your mind. Souffle these critics.
It defaults to building course +2. Oh. It does accept the -J flag with the same syntax as GNU make. -JN with the number of parallel jobs. For more information, run. So it looks like Ninja should already be running at least more optimally than it seems to. Maybe it's just slow to build. Behind his back, new beef and grease steaks. Hot shot foes saw time to hate. Caught him at a demo of a Ginsu blade. Waylaid, assault and pepper spray. So, you know, based on this, I think I made some updates here. Let me see if this, how this looks. system's running a bit slow because of that compilation, so forgive me for the performance issues here. Okay, so another thing that I did while I was waiting, and I wanted to know if in like a clean Ubuntu environment, whether the executable that I was building, which now is ostensibly linked against everything it needs statically, except for GTK, and then there's sound IO and DL, right? So I want to know, like, you know, what can we reasonably expect from a user a Linux user, say an Ubuntu user, who wants to be able to run this, right? So I created another VM and did a clean install of Ubuntu 18. And then I downloaded my emulator there with just the binary I built on this VM, and I ran it, and the only thing that was required was a apt-get install of sound IO. Once that was installed, everything worked. So OpenGL was present, the DL, which makes sense, is present, GTK of course is present, and all my SDL dependencies, you don't need to actually install any SDL2 because I've linked statically with it and it's all there in my executable. So that's pretty cool. Yeah, now I do need to still figure out, like, I would like for users not to have to install sound IO. I would like to come up with a way, either to link against it statically, that would be ideal, so that it would be completely gone, or to figure out how to package it correctly with my executable when I put everything together. So that's still kind of something I need to figure out. So Ubuntu. So this is for, I see here, GCC 8 or higher, VC package. So this I can remove. This at this moment, VC package does not build SDL2net properly. So we can remove this, which is kind of nice. All of this is gone. Although I might need to say about sound IO here. Yeah, that's one thing. For building purposes, you probably still need to install libsound IO. Because I probably got it when I had installed, yes, it would make sense that I got it when I installed SDL2. In fact, before I change this, I think I still have this untitled file with all the dependencies that got removed. And there it is. So libsound IO dev. So what we're going to do is we're going to say you need to install libgtk and libsound IO dev for now. Okay, so this is what's needed. Install this. We'll say we need some Linux specific libs, or install some Linux specific libs. Install the rest of the dependencies through VC package. In here we're going to want to add glue, glm, stb, and we're going to put here SDL2 and SDL2net. Technically speaking, we could just put SDL2net, which pulls in SDL2 as a dependency, but I like to be explicit. And this will mirror. In fact, I could probably put the same order here. Like if we were to take this and pretty much just remove. For Linux, we don't really need to specify this. There we go. This looks very similar now to what we do for Windows. And then we clone and build Vectrexy and we're good to go. Do I get a preview here? We do. Very nice. One of the things I love about VS Code is that it has this extension for Markdown, and you can do this kind of thing where you get this nice, cool preview. And you can move your cursor around, and it kind of shows you where you're at in the file. So it's pretty cool. I just saw here that we say to install CMake. I guess we should say the same thing. Install CMake. One thing about GCC 8 that I didn't specify here, and it's a bit annoying, is that I had to actually do this thing to remap the GCC or G++ commands to use the one from GCC 8. And a part of me is kind of relying on Ubuntu devs to figure this part out, but I'll have to map that out at some point, I think, just to make this a little bit easier. Oh, a little spelling mistake there. Okay, so where are we here? Okay, we're good. We built VC package, and now we should be able to build, where is it? Install SDL2net. Sweet. And if we go into Vectrexy, yeah, so we have some changes there. What's the CMake list one again? Oh yes, this change. Yeah, this is where we added the dependency now on DL and on sound IO for Linux. And so here if I do make-j, or not in build, not k, -j, this should go a little bit faster. You know what it is? I realize now, every time I run my stream, everything runs slower in the VM. Like it or not, OBS is using quite a bit of my CPU, as I say every stream, so it is what it is. Alright, and now we should be able to run. Cool. Alright, so let's get this committed. And we'll say I'll say update CMake lists for Linux now that we can statically link against SDL2 and SDL2-net. Commit. All right, so that's good. Let's push that. Great. So the next thing is to work on, where, let me see what it was. So actually here I should be able to get that change. Not that it makes any difference on the Windows side because this is pure Linux, but great. Oh yeah, this was done already. So I guess here I could say done for open file dialog, finally. Okay, so this is the console control handler. Now there was a little cherry pick I wanted to do, which was, what was it again? See here. No, it wasn't this. Did I ever delete that thing? Delete? I did delete it. Set console title. I'm not using that, right? Oh no, I still have it. I think I had removed it on a branch somewhere. So I guess we could remove it now because it's completely useless. Set console title. Switching back and forth between Windows and Linux. I'm gonna go a little crazy. Let's just push that. So we'll build, and then the next thing that I want to work on I guess we can take a look at this. So console control handler. So basically what this is here on Windows, I don't know how easy this is going to be. But here on Windows, like I have, you know, the console and I have the application, and at any point if I hit Ctrl+C, I break into here. Well, actually that's not really the thing. It's more like if I have the focus here and I hit Ctrl+C. Okay, and I get this exception here, but it's alright. If I hit F5, we break into the debugger. So the way that works is that I had to actually implement a special, I call the console control handler here. For Windows, that actually calls a function called set console control handler, which is a Win32 function, where you give it a callback and it says, you know, when Ctrl+C is hit, this is what I want you to do. So I do that instead of the typical, you know, send an exception, and most applications don't handle it, and it ends up just killing the application by default. So that's what happens right now on Linux. So if I run this, you'll see here, hit F5 again, if I hit Ctrl+C, okay, so if I hit Ctrl+C in here, it does, it's fine, it works. What happens is that it goes to, where's that terminal? Debugger terminal. So it comes in here, right? And then, you know, we can stab, all that works, right? And if we say continue, it goes back to running the debugger, and now focus is not switching. That's something else that I need to work on. But if I have the focus on the terminal and I hit Ctrl+C, then the program dies. You see it exited, and that's, you know, that's a typical behavior, but I want to override that behavior. So I need to figure out what the equivalent is to the Ctrl+C handler on Linux. So I'll write set control handler. What was it called again? Platform. Set console control handler for Linux. So you can use the signal function. Here's an example. That looks good. As mentioned in the comments, sig action avoids some pitfalls that can be common with signal and should be preferred. Or rather, sig action. Let's take a look at those. Use sig action unless you've got very compelling reasons not to do so. The signal interface has antiquity and hence availability in its favor, and is defined in the C standard. Nevertheless, it has a number of undesirable characteristics that sig action avoids, unless you use the flags explicitly added to sig action to allow it to faithfully simulate old signal behavior. The signal function does not necessarily block other signals from arriving while the current handler is executing. Sig action can block other signals until the current handler returns. The signal function usually resets the signal again back to sigdfl default for almost all signals. This means that the signal handler must reinstall itself as its first action. It also opens up a window of vulnerability between the time when the signal is detected and the handler is reinstalled, during which, if a second instance of the signal arrives, the default behavior usually terminates, sometimes with prejudice, aka core dumps occur. The exact behavior signal varies between systems, and the standards permit those variations. These are generally good reasons for using sig action. However, the interface of sig action is undeniably more fiddly. Whichever of those you use, do not be tempted by the alternative signal interfaces such as sig hold, sig ignore, sig pause, and sig release, I guess. They are nominally alternatives to sig action, but they are only barely standardized and are present in POSIX for backwards compatibility rather than for serious use. Note that the POSIX standard says the behavior in multi-threaded programs is undefined. Okay, alright, I'd like to use sig action. So let's see, is there any good examples of how to use this? Here we go. Restart function if interrupted by handler. Okay. Alright, well, let's try this. So this is Windows. We want to go into here. And what did I do again for Windows? I had this std function bool control handler. I have this handler here, and it asserts it, and then it just calls it. So that's pretty much what I want to do. Yeah, so I have the same thing here. And I stuffed that function in the namespace, right? Yeah. So this one just gets a signum. I don't know why I called it Wing32. I guess I could just call it console control handler. Okay, so here's the code where we set it all up. And that will be in this function here. Now, yeah, I don't think I even ever allowed this thing to fail here, or did I? What did I do? I just asserted. Okay. It returns in a value, so we'll just do similar kind of thing. Assert false or something. Or we'll do like this. Okay. And I do need to do something about probably, do I need to like unset the existing one? Probably, right? Is there like a way to remove the sig action, or is it that it replaces the existing? Okay, so it's supposed to return 0, otherwise -1 shall be returned. Okay. So I can just check if it's equal to 0. Let's see here. When a signal is caught, so anything about replacing them? Okay, we want to say probably sig DFL if it's null. That's what we want to do here. If we have a handler, we'll use this one, otherwise this. SA handler, yeah. SA mask, additional sets of signals to be blocked during execution of signal catching function. Special flags that affect behavior. SA flags and SA masks. Looks like we don't use the mask, we just empty it. And then we just call sig action. Hey, Danny Fritz. The emulator was not in C#. It was always in C++. C++ 17, actually. And I say 17 just because you can sort of see that I'm, I put it up here somewhere. There you go, up above my cursor. And I just put it there because a lot of people are interested in seeing what modern C++ looks like. And I thought it would be fun to try to write my emulator in trying to use as much of the modern features of C++ as possible. So. Okay, so I've got this. I've got the get console control handler. That should still be implemented the same way. Okay. So it's a bool function. What is it again? There's a go to symbol, Control Shift O. Debugger. So here we set it to this. Break into debugger, return true. I guess we don't really give a crap about the return value, so that's alright. Linux result isn't returned. Alright, so that links. One thing I wanted to change is I would like to get this back into a debug mode. But actually, before we do that, let's just see if this works. So Ctrl+C brings us here. And if I'm here and I hit Ctrl+C, there we go. So I mean, it echoes the Ctrl+C, which is alright. But at least we are still in here, which is pretty awesome. Okay, so that totally worked. Ctrl+Z will put it back in the background. How do you resume a process like this? Is there like a resume? No. Resume suspended process. The BG command can be used to resume a suspended process in the background. The FG command resumes a suspended process in the foreground. That's cool. Let's see. If I do FG 5639, would that work? FG with no arguments. Oh. Oh, so it knows which one was last suspended, at least in this context. And then we continue. And there we have it. So that seems to be working. Sweet. So that wasn't too hard. What about, you know what, I have a case where, you know what, and I don't know for sure if this is working because we haven't done the test of setting it to null, and I believe that I have a case of that, and that's what I was looking at up here, is the scoped console control handler. Because what we do, oh, it never sets it to null though, does it? It just sets it to something else. Allow Ctrl+C to break out of printing ops can be very long. Printing ops. Okay, yeah, this is when we do the print command. Trace. Okay, let's see if, well, let's just make sure that still works. It should work. But it is a case where we change the handler to something else. So here we say like T, we get 10, 1000, T-N. See here Ctrl+C doesn't seem to be breaking. That's a shame. It did do its print though. Okay, why is it not responding? Oh, here we go. Okay, let's try it. Something a little bit less crazy. So we saw that 1000 is pretty fast. 10,000. I can't hit up. That's 50,000. Okay, so it works. It does work. I just think that I overloaded it, and that was more probably an emulator, like a virtualization issue. Like if we say 100,000 and hit Ctrl+C, we can see the Ctrl+C happened here. It spat out what it had in the buffer and it stopped. So that seems to be working. And so do I have a place where I actually ever set it to 0, to null? Probably not. Well, I guess that's okay. That's here, and then we set console control handler. Break into debugger here, and that's that. Alright, you know what? I'm satisfied with this. Let's move forward. Ctrl+T. the next thing that would be really good to get working is the focus stuff. Now that might prove to be quite challenging, so let's take a look. I'll move set focus up here. Console color I'd say is less important. There's also this pressing up and down to cycle history. This is extremely useful. Not sure how I'm gonna get this done. I kind of got it for free on Windows, but I don't know how. I might have to do some custom code for this to work. Close a few of these. I'll say yeah, so I'm not using bash. Maybe this. Use the read line and history libraries, which are made exactly for that purpose. Note that GNU versions of these require all code linked to them to be licensed under the GPL. Nice. You don't want to use a library like those characters B suggest. You might think in another direction. What commands should be in the history? All the commands the user typed. How do you know what the user typed? You get it from stood in. What do you do? What do you do with the commands? You process them. Okay. Additionally, step 3, you just store the commands the user typed internally. If you know your user wants to use the command and presses the key up or key down, you look up the corresponding command in your internal vector. Yeah. The main thing in this code sample is using the readline function instead of standard language APIs for user input, such as fgetS in C or std_getLine, which is what I use in C++. This already gives us many of readline's features, like line editing. Having typed a word, we can actually go back and fix some part of it using the left arrow key or Ctrl+B. Jump to input N, Ctrl+E, and so on. All the editing facilities we're so used to from the standard Linux terminal. Okay. That's pretty cool. Other libraries. He links to something called line noise. Zero config, BSD license, readline replacement. Used in Redis, Mongo, and Android. It's all in C. History handling, completion, hints. Oh, that's kind of neat. This can actually be kind of fun. Hey, Moosey boy, how's it going? What am I working on? So I've been continuing to work on getting the Linux version to be, up to par with the Windows version. So we have right now the Ctrl+C works. So I was showing this just earlier, like. So let's say I run the emulator like this. If I focus back here and I hit Ctrl+C, instead of killing the application, it now correctly breaks into the debugger, which is what this is all about here, right? And then you can step and continue, and so that works. Now, the next thing I would like is when I'm here in my debugger and I hit up, you see how like you get this basically this character code for what up represents, right? Which sucks, right? And the thing is, in Windows, for free, the console already gives you like the kind of default history behavior. So I didn't really have to do anything on Windows, but on Linux, it looks like you have to do your own kind of thing. See, when I hit different arrow keys, it comes out as these different control codes for the arrow keys. So I was just looking into how you do that on Linux, and so one thing I found here is that there actually is a GNU library called readline that does it, but of course that requires me to use the same GNU GPL3 license, which, it's not the end of the world, but I prefer just to stick to MIT. So I'm looking at another one here. Can I use this one here? So this looks like a simpler one, a minimal zero config BSD license. Can I use BSD without any issue? BSD 2-class simplified license. Commercial use, modification, distribution, private use, no liability, no warranty, license, copyright, notice. Redistribution of source must retain the above copyright notice. Redistribution in binary form must reproduce the above copyright notice. This list of conditions and the following disclaimer and documentation and other materials provided with the distribution. I'm gonna need like it's not a big deal, just some kind of like license option in my emulator at some place. So this guy seems pretty simple. It's got a nice example here. Let's see what it looks like. Line noise set multi-line mode enabled. Okay, it's interesting. I don't really need that part. Line noise print key codes. Okay, which is what we're getting right now. Set the completion callback. This will be called every time the user uses the tab key. What does he do in his completion? I guess he looks up history. Completion. if it's H, line noise at completion, hello. Oh, I see. So you can do your own kind of matching and stuff. That's cute. Set hints callback. Load history from file. The history file is just a plain text file, where entries are separated by new lines. So that's kind of neat too. It actually has support for a history text file. Oh, that's... So if this is cross-platform, I would actually get this for free on Windows as well. Now this is the main loop of the typical line noise-based application. The call to line noise will block as long as the user types something and presses enter. Okay. So here we show the prompt. Get back a line. You can do something with it. Oh, and you have to free it at the end. Okay. This looks pretty easy. Nice and simple. So, is this cross-platform, or is it just works on? Does it only work on Linux systems? Line noise NG is a fork that adds more advanced features like UTF-8, Windows support, and other features. Uses C++ instead of C as a development language. And line noise Swift is a re-implementation. So this would be Linux only. So let's check out line noise NG. This one's GNU.
Here I come, baby, the hero of the ages. Gonna give Ganon Dork a poke with the sword of the sages. All the angels in heaven singing a hell of a chorus. If I could only find my way out of this goddamn forest. Was it a left here? Shit.
If VS would run on Linux, would you switch to Linux as your daily driver? So that's a great question. Maybe. Maybe I would. You know, the main reason I use Windows is because of my job, right? Like, I'm a game developer, and you know, all the tooling and everything is on Windows. So that's basically the environment I've always been in. And definitely I do like Visual Studio a lot. I do think it's a really great debugger. So if it was available in its current form, like in exactly the same form, because VS Code is cool, but it's definitely not Visual Studio. Maybe I would make the switch. There are games, of course, you know, the issue of games availability not being the same for Linux, so that could be an issue. But maybe I'd have like Windows as a secondary OS just for playing games. I mean, I have Linux on one of my laptops in my house connected to my TV, so I do use it for that. That's why I'm not at a complete loss, you know. Yeah, so at work, of course, we use Direct3D. I'm not actually a graphics programmer, so you know, I've only written OpenGL in Vectrexy, and a lot of what I did. I mean, I knew OpenGL for years now, but like, you know, immediate mode, old school OpenGL. On this project, I learned more about how to implement, you know, more modern GL with shaders and stuff. But yeah, you know, for commercial games like what I do at work, we definitely use Direct3D and all, like I said, all the tooling, you know, like I work on console, like PS4, Xbox One. It's all on Windows, right? Well, especially Xbox. not a surprise there. We've made games for Windows for UWP. So that's all Microsoft, right? I'm a little bit confused by why this guy wrote portable GNU readline. Oh, GNU readline replacement. Okay, that's what he means. Unlike GNU readline, which is GPL, this library is used as a BSD license and can be used in any kind of program. Okay, that's cool. The goal is to create a zero config BSD licensed readline replacement usable in Apache 2 or BSD licensed programs. Or MIT licensed programs. So I like this. We use C++ 11 internally and some recent version of CMake. Would be neat if this thing was actually on VC package. Let's take a look. Nope. Oh well. So, you know, I was thinking about this, and again, I think I've said this before. I kind of like two directions I can go with this. You know, I can try to make this emulator work exactly the same way on all targets, or a lot of the debugger features was really just for me. It's really just for me, right? And like most of that debugger stuff was there for me to be able to even just implement my emulator. I don't know if anyone's ever going to get much use out of it on other targets. And so another option of mine is to just say, you know, no debugger on Linux and Mac OS. And then I wouldn't have to do any of this work I'm doing, like the whole set focus and the Ctrl+C handler and all that. All of that stuff would just basically be disabled except on Windows. So that's totally another option. But there's a part of me that kind of likes the challenge of trying to bring this making Vectrexy work exactly the same way on all targets, and who knows, maybe some people would actually get a kick out of using the debugger. It is somewhat useful if you're developing, I guess, for Vectrex, but truthfully there are better tools out there like the VDay or Vide or however you say emulator that Malban has put together. So yeah, it's just some stuff I'm thinking about. So Moosey Boy asks, how do you think Vectrexy compares to other Vectrex emulators out there? Sorry for all the questions. It's just that now I have some time, so I'm throwing all the questions that I piled up over the last few VODs out there. Hey, no problem, man. I enjoy all the questions, really. So ask away. You're asking me to talk about my project, so that's not a problem. So how does it compare to other emulators out there? So there aren't that many Vectrex emulators. I've tried like 4, and I think mine holds up pretty well. I like that mine is perhaps more modern in terms of OpenGL. I believe my rendering is pretty nice compared to some of the other ones. Having said that, I really do like Malban's Vid emulator, VidA, Vide, or whatever. I also like how he renders as well, so it's pretty cool, and he has a really full-featured environment. His is more for development purposes, less for just like emulation to play. So maybe on that front, mine is more directly a emulator to play games, you know, and less a development environment. So maybe on that front, mine can be considered a better alternative if you're just looking to play games. I don't know. But, you know, his supports a whole bunch more stuff. Like, he supports, like, he emulates the light pen with the mouse. He emulates the 3D imager. So he's definitely put in a lot more work into his emulator. It's written in Java, and so it is actually cross-platform out of the box. It totally runs on the 3 targets. And it's like, I think it's less work for him to have gotten it working on all 3 targets because Java, and I'm dealing with, as you can see, the pain of having to use C++. Probably, you know, the advantage of mine is it probably uses less memory, right? And is better, maybe better for performance. That's arguable. So, you know, I think it's a decent emulator. At the same time, you know, my goal isn't to write the best emulator in the world. That was never my goal. My goal really is just to have fun. It's really a learning experience. I find like I've actually learned a ton implementing this emulator. So I think it succeeded on that front, and it continues to succeed. Like, forcing me to do all this Linux stuff here, like I'm forcing myself to do it, is teaching me a lot about, you know, developing for Linux. In the past, I've never really gone this far. You know, in the past, I wrote an NES emulator and I just compiled with SDL, and it just kind of worked. Very little work to be done to make it build on Linux. This time around, because I did a little bit more of the kind of platformy console stuff, I find myself like digging a bit deeper, you know? Like, for example, the open file dialog, which I spent like the last like couple of streams doing with GTK. My NES emulator, what I do instead is I only support you passing in on command line the path to the ROM. Whereas for Vectrexy, I now support showing a proper GUI dialog using GTK, as well as the command line. So that's, you know, I'm just kind of stepping up my game for this emulator. So I hope that answers your question. Non-free? What does non-free mean? Under a non-free Unicode license. Huh. Okay. So they're non-free as in speech, I suppose. Of course, the other option is to use this one here, which looks like it's simpler and smaller. Then I won't have the feature for Mac. It's a tough call. What was that? MinGW, okay. To use using G instead of G++. Warning, support for hints. Pull requests as well, eh? Yeah, all cool stuff. Do you know when you're going to be finished with this project and what you will do next on Twitch, if anything? I don't know, actually. I've been thinking about it though. One thing I've been doing on my own time is I've been reading and learning a little bit about Rust. It's been a long time I've been wanting to kind of dig into Rust. It's really a cool language, and usually when I want to learn a language, I do it by actually having a project to work on. So I might want to write a game or something, so I might stream that. But I'm not sure. I really haven't figured that out yet. But I still have a few things I want to do in Vectrexy. Like, for example, I want to implement sound. That's a big one. So once I get that done, we'll see. We'll see what happens. I definitely don't want to stop streaming. I definitely enjoy this process. But, you know, not sure yet what the next project will be. Okay, so actually if I were to use this one, which seems to have maybe less issues than the C++ one, it is supported on Mac OS X, so that's kind of good. So maybe I could make it just work for those. Could try that. It literally is 2 files. I mean, obviously there's the license and all that. But this is the one I wanted to see. So this is the main file. So why don't we try it? Let's just see how it goes. You know, it doesn't hurt. So what I'll do is I'll at least start by forking this one. And we'll want to add this as a submodule, just like we did last time, because I have this third party folder here, right? So we'll say git submodule add, and I think it was third party. We want to specify where, line noise. Whoops, what just happened there? There. Or maybe it was the other way around. There we go. So we've cloned it into line noise. Great. And now I need to actually build it as part of my thing here in my application. So that's going to be in CMake. So this is not a header only, so I'm going to actually have to add it to my compilation. So let's see if we can do that here. native glob line. So we're going to want a glob line noise.c and line noise.h, I guess. Or line noise.start. Let's do that. And we add that to our source. I'm gonna have to put if Linux around these there, or if not, Windows. Why am I getting this here? Is valid for C++ Objective-C, but not for C. Oh, interesting. Is it, what's it doing then? Oh, there we go, linking. So it actually built, which is kind of a good sign. It is built here. We got a warning. I don't want to look into that. Maybe about mixing building C and C++. Maybe there's like a way to build this in 2 separate passes or something, I don't know. Or invoking a different compiler for that file. Anyway, okay, so let's say that works. We go into debugger here, and we go look at where we've got our read line, or whatever it's called, get line, is it? Yeah. It's this one here, right? Yes. So this is the bit of code right now that reads input and stores it here into stream, if not stream, and then we have this input command, which is a string. So for now, what I'm going to do is we're going to just put this in comments. And let's see if we can't use this library. I might have to add and include directory actually. Oh no, I have it. I have third party here. Great. So let's see. I thought I had Clang format installed. What's it doing? Ah. Actually, I don't really understand this. The extension that I have here does actually install a Clang format. And then sometimes I think this looks like some weird bug in VS Code where, or with this extension, where it complains about missing Clang format, but it actually came with this one. Let me just remove this for a sec. And I'm going to do a little find. I don't remember where it goes. Where are the files for this? I don't know where it is. Find Clang format. Ah, there it is. Not permission denied. This one, home darrow see .vs code extensions. You see, it actually has a Clang format in there. And you would think that, like, the fact that it comes with the extension means it would use it by default if none is specified, but it doesn't seem to be the case. Clang format executable. There we go. So I was expecting the Clang format to order this correctly. So go back down to where we were looking at getLine. So it looks like what we want to do is call this function here. The type string is returned as a malloc allocated string by line noise, so the user needs to free it. And line is a const char star pointer, I suppose. And while it's not equal to null, which means while we still have stuff being entered. Oh, 5 o'clock. Well, thanks for hanging out, Moosey boy. And have a good night. Okay, so this char star. can make it const. And what we want to do here is input command equals to line and free it. Okay, what's the problem here? Invalid conversion from const void star to void star. Alright, whatever. Don't want it, you don't get it. Okay, so that ran. That built, I mean. So let's give it a little whirl. We'll try it from here. I'm not sure why it's running like this. So here we are. Seems to be some weird behavior here. I don't know if it's my keyboard. The call to line noise will block as long as the user types something and presses enter. Pretty much what I'm doing, right? If not stream, getLine will fail under certain conditions, like when Ctrl+C is pressed, in which case we just clear the stream and restart the loop. Debug. I'm going to build this in debug because I'd like to actually see what gets returned here and all that. So let's see what's going on here. So here we saw that the -j really did make a big difference. We've blasted through these files much faster than usual, so that's pretty cool. Sure seems really long to follow that step. Okay. So now let's put a breakpoint here, hit F5, and let's see what happens. Okay, so hit Ctrl+C and we've got our breakpoint here. Now hit F10, that's a blocking call, right? And we've got a terminal here. There we are. If I hit S, so backspace cleaned up that line. S, enter. Come in here. We've got the S in the string, our input command gets S, we free the line, we tokenize it. That's a step, we should execute, F5, and we should block again on line noise. But we did not get the output. So, okay, I think I know what's going on here. This is the problem of mixing like C in, C out with I think. Is that what I'm doing? Got C in here. Do I C out before? I'm actually not even doing a C out, I'm doing a print, which is, if I'm not mistaken, not doing any kind of C std stuff. So yeah, why didn't I get this here, this print? Or maybe I did, but it's the get line that ends up clearing the current line. Okay, I think I understand. We need to pass in what we want to prompt. I'm gonna stop this for a sec. How do I make it stop looking? Anyways, whatever. So like this print here, we would want it to be shown in this area here. Okay, let's try. Auto. Prompt. may need to do some funky casts. Let's see. Alright. And let's hit F5. So our prompt is in there. So we hit F10, we block. We now should be over here. Okay, so there it is. And then backspace does not erase anything. S, enter. F5, 5. Okay, so we did step. But it looks like any printing we did got eaten up. Because normally when I step, we get a print for that. Oh, look at that. What just happened there? Here we repeat the last command. We execute it. We print last op. This is what I wanted to see. What's my print doing? So it's doing this printf stuff. Print with a new line. I may need to flush now that I'm thinking about it, and I might have been getting an automatic flush from the fact that I was doing the cin. And maybe that's why we're not seeing what's happening here. So let me try that. I'm not getting any symbols. I just have to set up stuff. Where did I put it again? It's in... console output. That's what I was looking for. Flush stream. So I suspect there might be a problem with stream flushing, but I'm not sure. Let's see. Let's at least eliminate it. Oh. So I was not wrong. There we go. We got our output. So yeah, it was just buffering and not outputting. So I guess we just take it for granted that when we do a get line, this call to std get line on std cin ends up, I guess, flushing the stream. Which, you know, and that might be a console thing on Windows. It doesn't hurt to always flush it at this point. In fact, it makes a lot of sense. So let me just take off this breakpoint here and see if we're in a place where this actually works. Did I not take off this breakpoint? If I hit up, it does not cycle. So I might have to set that, call that history function. So that's all right. We can do that. Let's see if I do TK. So, I mean, pressing up is not doing anything, but at least it's not printing out those things. So there is some special handling going on. Tab, well, tab inserts a tab. We could do auto completion, but I don't really care about that. And why isn't C? Okay. Ctrl+C. Yeah, there's something weird about the double Ctrl+C. It's not quite working right. Like when we're here and I hit Ctrl+C again, I get a segmentation fault. That's not right. That's related to the Ctrl+C handler stuff I did before. And here if I hit Ctrl+C, if I hit continue, we still got some kind of weird input here, which we shouldn't. We shouldn't be able to type here, you know what I mean? But I mean, that's not the worst thing in the world, honestly. And then a double Ctrl+C causes segmentation fault, so we'll want to fix that. But this is looking pretty decent. Now let's see about that history thing. I guess we're not getting history because we never called that function. Oh yeah, there is that one thing I completely forgot, is that if I use this specific line noise thing, I gotta do the... Oh no, that's fine. No, that's it, it's fine. Never mind. Yeah, BSD license. I'm gonna have to look into the whole BSD license thing and see if it's... Do I need to like dual license my code, or can I just use MIT with this and just claim it? I gotta educate myself a little bit on BSD and how that works. So there's line noise history add. So do I need to do my own history stuff? Maybe. Like, am I supposed to do a set? No. Line noise free, line noise. Maybe I gotta add to the line noise history. Maybe it's that. Maybe it's as simple as that, I should say. Oh. Looks like it's working. That is pretty cool. Pretty cool. You know what, the Ctrl+C thing, it reminds me of this here. GetLine will fail under certain conditions, like when Ctrl+C is pressed, in which case we just clear the stream status and restart the loop. So when we're waiting for line noise here and we hit Ctrl+C, it's probably doing something we don't like. Let me see. Maybe line is actually null and we're not supposed to free on a null. Let's see what happens. I'm assuming it returns. I could be wrong. Okay, so here we are. So if I hit Ctrl+C again, we come back here, and yeah, line is indeed null. So that's our problem right here. We don't want to be doing that. We get a seg fault for assigning a null to a string. So we can actually handle this just like we're handling it here. Std C and clear. I don't really need to do that, but I could output a std endl. So yeah, let's do that. If not line, I don't even know why I shouldn't use std out here. Maybe I'll do a printf or arrf. So at least we can force the printing of it. And a return true. Give that a whirl. Right, it doesn't want a character, it wants a string, of course. And go back. Do we have a breakpoint here? No. I don't know what just happened. That was not supposed to happen. Okay, that's good. Why didn't that work when we ran it from the debugger's terminal? If I hit Ctrl+C here, we're there. Huh. Okay, alright, no, there's our breakpoint. Okay, that's okay. And that should have run another step. Perfect. Ctrl+C. Okay, there's our line that's null. Error and return true, so no more crash. So let me disable this breakpoint then. Exception has occurred. If I hit enter again, why does that cause an exception? Is that a breakpoint that we're seeing here? Step. Okay. Ctrl+C does not break us. Continue. See, there's something weird there. Where I hit Ctrl+C, there's something not quite right. It seems to only occur when I'm using that debugger console window that gets spawned. But it does not inspire much confidence. Like, why would that one be any different? When I run it from bash, it's fine. But when I run it from this spawned debugger terminal, as it calls it, like I hit F5 here, and I go to this spawn debugger terminal. So this is the output. Is there anything weird about this terminal I need to know about? Reset and clear. I guess it's a little bit different. Preferences. No, I suppose it's exactly the same as this one here. Yeah, it's the same thing. Now if I hit Ctrl+C, see it closes. Error, GDB exited unexpectedly. Debugging will now abort. I guess this is special. I suppose GDB is looking for Ctrl+C and somehow overriding my Ctrl+C handler. Could that be? That's possible. And if that's the case, then I don't really care, because, you know, that's not the normal use case. One thing I could try, just to see if that's the case, I can go into platform here. Into the CPP, and just put a little breakpoint in the actual console control handler. If I hit F5, we'll just keep running. If I hit Ctrl+C in here, yeah, see, we don't even get into mine. So that's probably GDB doing something there, because I guess GDB wants to detect when you hit Ctrl+C. Perhaps I'm kind of guessing here, but like if I just run Vectrexy from bash here and I hit Ctrl+C, we're in good shape. This behaves just like on Windows. Sweet. Alright, so we're definitely closer. Now, how do I want to do this? This library is not cross-platform, so I need to have kind of like both cases, and I'm not going to do this with an if-def, so I'm going to want to put this function behind the platform function, I suppose. Which I can do. We can put it like behind one of those platform console functions. Yeah, let's do that. So we'll go to platform.h. So we have all these set console and all this. We can have a like console read line type of thing and implement it specially. Yeah, that should work. Set focus, set console focus, set console control handler, console coloring, scope console color. Yeah, let's put it here. And we'll make it a std optional. Just like we did over here, in case we don't actually read something. You know what? I was just having this thought about how rather than returning here, I could always just loop until the string returns valid, and I could do the same kind of thing here, and then I wouldn't need any kind of special handling, and we can pretty much guarantee that we get a string. Let me just go back to Windows and see if that would be the case. This one here. So here we are. If I hit Ctrl+C, we get this array here, and then right now we do an endl and a return true. But rather than that, what if we did more like while not string, clear it and ask for it again. Does this work? Can we do this in a while? here's our Ctrl+C, Ctrl+C again. So we hit the, just close this. We hit the clear, and then we hit F5, and we're back here again. So this means, but Ctrl+C is still doing something. What's it doing? Ah, interesting. Why would we continue here? Why is this any different? Usually we just, if our stream is invalid, we clear it. Oh, of course. That doesn't make any sense. What we want to do is we want to keep doing this in our loop. I don't know what the cleanest way to write this is. This won't be in scope right now. So gross. We want to keep doing this. I guess I can do, in this case, I can do this, right? No, I want to know when it doesn't work. No default constructor exists. Really? Alternatively, we can do this. Get line. If we got the stream, we break. Otherwise, we clear it. Let's try that. Okay, I think we got it. Ctrl+C does nothing at all. Oops. Oh, you can even do a find in here? Look at that. Accidentally hit Ctrl+F and I found that you can find in your console. Okay, this is kind of good. This is going to simplify things. And we should be able to do exactly the same thing for line noise. So we can just do like a similar kind of loop here. We say flush, and then we say If it succeeded, we set it and break. Otherwise we do nothing. In this case, we don't need to clear anything. We just want to rerun it again. Ah yes, in the history. And we want to clean it up as well. Oh, that's true. Every single time we call this, oh, it's it. If it doesn't return, we don't need to clean anything. But if it did return, we want to set it, we want to add it to our history, and we want to free it, and then we want to break from the loop. All of this is going to be moved behind a function, so it's okay if it looks a little bit messy now. It's just more of a proof of concept than anything else. Just want to make sure that this loop thing works on both platforms, and then we'll hide it behind our console function, console read line or whatever. So let's run Vectrexy. So stepping, and then we do hit Ctrl+C. So this time Ctrl+C is printing the prompt. Okay, that's okay. I mean, it's not the end of the world, the thing with the prompt. Yeah, there's also that question of how I used to print the prompt up here. Was that ever important that I printed the prompt up there? I would not be printing it if we had pending commands, which is probably not that big a deal. I think that's alright. So we'll want to pass in the prompt as well. So yeah, if in this case, should it fail, we're going to want to output a new line. That'll be a special case for this. And you know, that's sort of a limitation of the way line noise works. If it had the ability to say, remember its current caret position or something, then we wouldn't have to worry about this. But there is really this concept of, you give me the prompt, I own the full line. So I'm not going to fight it. It's not a really big deal anyway. This is more like if you accidentally hit Ctrl+C, this kind of thing happens. And I think that's perfectly acceptable. Oh, that's funny. Wow, what's with all the space? Oh, this is related to the Ctrl+C, isn't it? 1, 2, 3. Yeah, 1, 2, 3. Oh, is it because it's adding lines for that? No, shouldn't be. Got nothing to do with that. This is, yeah, it's internal to line noise. It's outputting these blank new lines. It's okay. It's fine. It's not perfect, but I don't care. Again, hitting Ctrl+C like this is an accident. It's not something that I expect people to do. I just don't want them to accidentally break out. time, 11:30. Okay, let's do this. So we don't need this to be optional. We'll actually just make it a std string, and we'll say console read line, and we'll say const char star prompt. I think I'm just gonna shy away from using my functions here and just do, this is like really platform specific stuff, so in fact, I could just do a printf here. Now that I think about it. Because anyways, we're going to be flushing, right? If it fails. Actually, we won't be. But if we do this, we will. I don't know what's going on with the coloring here. Alright, instead of input command, we're going to say std string results. I think I'm going to need to include my header, yes, up here. It's going to fail because of the header top. Had a weird dip in my bitrate there. Okay, so line noise, you're going to move into platform. And back here in debugger, this code that we use line noise, this will change. It will simply become input command equals platform read line with the prompt. No, that's not what I called it. Console read line? Yeah. Alright, that built very well. Let's see if this is still working. Getting an extra new line in there. That was not what we had before. I think I did change something. Platform. While true, flush. If it works, break out of the loop. Actually, so that, I guess this could actually just become a return result here. Now that I think about it. In fact, what we'll do. I don't know what's going on with the coloring of this file here. Maybe if I reopen it. Some string. Wow, it's still doing it. There's some weird parsing going on here. I don't know. VS Code bug. So flush the output. If it failed, we printed a new line. Why is the new line no longer necessary? That's super odd. It was necessary before. Okay. So now it's not necessary. Maybe it was when we were running with the debugger and it's that Ctrl+C funkiness with the debugger again. Possibly. Okay. So there's console read line for Linux, and we're going to want to put it for Windows as well. Now we're going to do it blind, which means it may not work. That's okay. For Windows, oh yeah, can I copy here? Oh yeah, I'm going to have to print out the prompt as well. If this succeeds, return the result. And we need to print the prompt. So for that, we'll do something similar where we will So yeah, this is a bit blind. I don't know if this will work. Let's hope for the best. It's okay. We can put this on a branch. If we see it works for Windows, then we'll merge it into master or just push master on it. Debugger. So all this code pretty much disappears. And I'll just put a little note here. So it reads the prints prompt and blocks waiting for text to be entered, for a line of text to be entered. I won't bother saying about the history. And in fact, this prompt can be moved inside since we're not going to do anything with it. Fact, we can just, well, you know, I'll leave it like this. It's nice to have it in a separate. So the good news is that we should be able to reuse this library for when we do the macOS port. So just like using the one for the open file dialog, we also have now a library that will do this kind of input parsing for both Mac and Linux, not for Windows because I decided not to use the C++ one, but it might be something worth looking into at some point, like using the one for Windows. And then what's nice is the ability to be able to save the history file. We kind of get that feature for free. I'm not using it here, but I could save it out to a file and then parse it and all that. So it's worth thinking about. Oh yeah, and there's something here. I don't want to be including line noise for Windows, so I need to go modify my CMake lists to say if Linux, eventually it'll include Mac as well, but let's keep it focused. Or maybe it'll be more like if Unix, because this will be for both. So, all right, so if Linux, then do this bit as well, except for the source line. That here belongs to the bottom. Okay. This looks pretty good. So let's say, oh, before I do this, let me switch branch. And we'll say Linux console history. Integrate, and let me give proper credit in my integrate line noise library line noise source, I'll put it like this, to implement console history in debugger. So integrate line noise library to implement console history in debugger. Line noise sources like that. So let's commit this. And let's see if this works on Windows. We're going to grab this branch. Now we're going to get our, no submodule yet. So implement send control panel for Linux. Okay, let's check this out. Yeah, let me revert this, reset, check out. Submodules. Now I should get line noise, and it did. Although I don't really need it. So let's see if this actually builds for Windows. Looks to be working. Ctrl+C doesn't do anything. Step T, Ctrl+C. History still works. Load symbols, loaded symbols, boom. All right, that's great. So, since that worked so well, let's move master to here. cleanup. I think I have a stale remote branch. Okay, whatever. Not a big deal. Yeah, that's okay. Okay, so I think that is everything. Well, I mean, related to this change anyway. Yeah, how do we clean up branches? Like part of a branch, or is it part of See also the prune subcommand of git remote for a way to clean up all obsolete remote tracking branches. Part of git remote? Git remote prune origin. There you go. We could do the same thing here. That was the commit that I re-implemented over here. So we could delete that as well. I need a capital letter for that. And that's gone. There's like a bug here where it still shows unless I do a shift F5. Yeah. Awesome. So if we go to our to-do list, we did this, pressing up down to cycle history and debug console. So tonight we did these two tasks right here, which is great, and that leaves us with setting the focus, which I don't think should be too difficult. Execute shell command and maybe console color, we'll see. This is really probably the least useful feature. I don't even really use it on Windows, so not super inclined to implement it. So we'll see. So yeah, everything should be pushed. So if you're interested in getting the code, go ahead, take a look. But yeah, thanks guys for watching, and I'll catch you next week.